Hi, I'm Ngozi, and you're welcome to the Zibby Show. It's like I always say, an amazing honor to have you on the show. I'm so excited that, you guys just keep on keeping up with me. I understand for a couple of weeks now, my voice has been a bit different. I got a lot of people saying, you sound different. Yes, and like I always say at the end of the shows, like both shows, I was having problems, enlarged tonsils, and then the dust, and then the flu. So it was very hard, and sometimes it actually hurt to talk. But I'm back, yay, with a bang. Right, so I'm feeling great, and I'm ready to kick off today's show. Let's start with a brief recap from last week. We spoke about Western influence on Nigerian social behavior last week, and we spoke about the whole, people saying, oh, being gay is not African, and we spoke about social media behavior. We spoke about, basically PDAs, things like that. I really enjoyed that. It was a fun episode. I enjoyed doing it. And I'm glad that, almost everyone agreed that, some things Western, not everything Western was good, just like not everything African was bad. And it's a vice versa thing. And basically, I think it boils down to ourselves. If you feel it's right, regardless of if it's Western or if it's African cultural or, spiritual, religious, if you think there's something that you can do to improve yourself or, improve any areas of your life, then you should do it, regardless of if it's foreign to you or if it's part of your culture, something you're used to. So basically, yeah. To be a better person, you need to examine yourself sometimes and try to change. Some things are obsolete, some things need to be, incorporated into your life. So basically, it doesn't really matter if it's Western or African, just be the best person you can be, really. And I have got great news for you. Like, it's great news. Like, I'm basically jumping. Okay, so we've gotten a Grammy-winning rapper and poet from the US to be on the Zibby Show. Like, I really want to jump up and just say, yay. Okay, I'm going to sit and say yay. But it's, it's amazing because he's a Grammy winner. He's an Emmy winner. He's won a Peabody for writing. He's got a Clio Award. And his words have influenced millions around the world. So I'm so excited. And I really can't wait to tell you guys who it is. Okay, but you need to wait till the end of the show. Yes, so we're so excited about that. And it's amazing. I've never spoken to a Grammy winner in all my life. I mean, this is someone I watched on TV. This is someone I listened to his work. And then I get a chance to actually have him on my show. Like, nothing beats this. Trust me, nothing beats this. So I'm so excited and I can't wait. I really cannot wait. Okay, so let's move on to some not so sad, not so happy news. With the recent anti-gay bill in Nigeria, a lot of people, including myself, which I actually stated on the show, were worried that people would be victimized and people would be lynched in the streets. And, while we thought it was a possibility that it could happen, we actually, hoped and prayed that it wouldn't, but unfortunately it has. I saw the newspaper article, but, it was very graphic, and there was no way on earth I was going to read it and look at those pictures. Apparently, 2 young men were beaten up and lynched, basically killed, in Nigeria because they were suspected of being gay. How can you prove someone is gay if you don't catch them in the act? But even if the government sets that law, it doesn't give anyone the right to take human life. It doesn't give anyone the right to try to take the law into their hands. That is why we've got the police, and that's why we've got the law courts, where these people should be tried. I don't agree they should be tried, but based on what the government is saying, that's the procedure. They're not giving anyone the right to go out and lynch someone because they think the person is gay. So that's something we were really terrified about, and unfortunately it started to happen already. And you know how it is, a lot of cases go unreported. People are probably being harassed, beaten, threatened, whether they're gay or not. No one deserves to live in fear. No one deserves to be beaten up. No one deserves to be lynched. Everyone has the right to live. This is something that we need to work on. Please, I hope there's someone out there who can contact me and say, okay, you know what, this is the right way to go about it, because I'm confused. And like I said, we're working on a show where we're going to get human rights lawyers, some people who can speak about, the whole gay thing. And it's going to be a controversial topic. I understand that, but the thing is, we need to be educated, and we're putting that together. As regards the nature of the people, they're very busy, so getting everyone together is a bit of a hassle, but we're definitely working on that, and that should be ready soonest. I beg of you, do not take the law into your hands in any way, shape, or form. Please, you have no right to do that. I'm going to be talking about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's book Americanah later on in the show. Last week I spoke about the launch of the Zibby Show book club, and that is the book we were reading. We've got 7 members now. We're growing. So if you need to join, just send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, website, or email zibbyshow@gmail.com, and you're in. It's that easy, yes. So we'll be talking about this book. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is someone who inspires me a lot. I mean, she's a writer like I am, and she's a young black woman who knows what it is to live in a different society, which is, very similar to me. And of course, we've got the same name. Come on. Yeah, I don't know if I said this last week, but I remember when my Oibo colleague saw the book in the boss's office, and boss is Oibo as well, and he was so excited. And he kept on going, oh, look. And I'm like, yes, Ben, settle down. It's not me. It's a lovely book, and, we're going to have the review later on in the show. But there's some major things we need to speak about right now. A few days ago, there was a near miss with a plane crash in Nigeria, and we thank God, we severely and seriously say bye-bye Eshe. Seriously, I'm just thanking God that, no lives were lost. It was Overland Airways, or is that Overland Line? Overland Airways from Abuja to Ibadan. And I saw pictures, and I could see people terrified and running. It scared me quite a bit. So basically, they were all seated on board, probably getting ready to leave. Something was wrong with the engines, and then there was a fire. And, the smoke was it was scary. And I'm so glad that no lives were lost. This brings me back to the Minister of Aviation, Mrs. Stella Odua. Madam Stella Odua has been in one scandal or the other quite recently with, the ridiculous amount spent on those alleged bulletproof cars. Do the needful. Does anyone remember that? Yeah, sure do. And then, of course, with the scandals where Mrs. Odua claimed to have gotten a master's degree from a college. Yeah. And that college has said, we do not give master degree programs here. Mrs. Stella Pose came out and said she would not be responding to the allegations. That was about a month ago. It's ridiculous, Madam Stella. You have to report. You have to speak to us and tell us what's that whole shenanigan like. Tell us what it's about, because we don't understand. Why are you going to tell us you had a master's degree from, is that Sarah Lawrence, is it? And then turns out that program is not being offered. So why'd you lie? And if you're caught on your lies, you need to step down respectfully. But Madam Stella has said she would not speak about it, and no one is doing anything about it. I still don't understand, because I would expect that if someone's going to be appointed to be a minister, there's some verification of, things. Because I remember I was much younger. I was probably in secondary school. There was a speaker, he was actually very young, and he lied about his age or his qualifications, something, and he stepped down respectfully. I mean, it was a shameful situation, but he had the decency to apologize. He cried and he stepped down. So Stella Odua, please step down, because we're seriously getting tired of everything. There have been, issues with plane crashes, and, lives are being lost. People have lost faith. I haven't been through Murtala Mohammed Airport in a while, but everyone is, talking about how bad the international wing is. Port Harcourt Airport looks like a bus park. The departures is finished. It looks like a regular bus park in the UK. But then the arrivals where they're tense, and it's scary. I can imagine coming into Nigeria for the first time and you have to come out to that. It's scary. So I think Madam Odua needs to do the needful. If you're appointed to serve people and the people are not, satisfied with your work, and they don't believe you're putting in your best, all you have to do is step down so a more competent person can take over. Right? But unfortunately, that's not the case in Nigeria, because people want to die there. Anyways, moving on. Stella, do the needful. And please step down. Yeah, do the needful. Let's move on now to talking about unemployment in Nigeria. Unemployment is a serious issue. There are no official statistics on the amount of people who are currently employed, because, we all know that, unfortunately, we don't live in a nation where we take records of everything. But fact is, when you look around you, you can tell how many people are unemployed. Talk about how many graduates you know, and it's a serious problem. It's a really serious problem. I really hope that people can do much in trying to create jobs for young people, because where there are no jobs, then you get high rates of crime, restiveness, and things like that. Has anyone noticed the amount of new churches springing up? Yes, there seems to be like a huge rise in the amount of churches, and when you look at the posters of the flyers, a lot of them look, they look very young, like maybe they're in their early 20s and mid 20s, like they're just finishing from university. So I don't know if they're actually getting the call, or if it's just another impact of unemployment, and people are looking for a way to get gainfully employed or be self-employed. And come on, in Nigeria these days, being a pastor, owning your own church seems to be like the in thing. So yeah, we'll talk about that subsequently. There are a lot of job scams going on. I've read cases. There was this popular blog I was reading, and there was a case of someone who almost got defrauded. Some criminals got her number, had her name, her location, her everything, basically her details, and they said, "Oh, we've got a supply job for you, and you need to do this, blah 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 blah." And she was getting all excited, but after a while, she spoke to someone who was like, "What? That's a scam." And a lot of commenters actually had been through the same. Some of them had fallen, some of them had known family and friends who had been victims. Because people are, unemployed and they need a source of income, when someone calls them randomly with their name saying, "Oh, I met you somewhere, oh, we went to university together, I've got a job for you." Some people might not even recall that name, but because they're so desperate, they're going to act like, "Oh yeah, I remember the person," So we all need to be careful and thinking about it. And we've been thinking about it, talking to people, and a lot of us agree that the possible way these rogue criminals get people's details is from CV applications. A lot of people, just drop their CVs anywhere because obviously they're looking for a job and hoping that someone would call them back. So they drop CVs and things like that, as well as, submitting online applications. And that's where those fraudsters get the details. Now, I'm going to say this. If you ever see a job position advertised by a recruitment agency, and the recruitment agency is XXX or blah, blah, blah recruitment at yahoo.com, please, it's not a genuine agency. No proper recruitment agency would not have a website with personalized email. Using Yahoo or Hotmail or Gmail or Live, it's ridiculous. So if you see any job advert like that, please just move away, or try to do a Google search, try to ring up and get information. If it's a recruitment consultant using at Yahoo at whatever.com, just please don't give them your details, because chances are it could be used for the sort of cases we're seeing right now, people being defrauded of large amounts of money. I mean, when you're unemployed, every kobo counts. Even when you're employed, every kobo counts. So you cannot afford to give your hard-earned money to someone else. And of course, there's something, becoming more popular now. It's called a pyramid scheme, where people are like, "Oh, pay 30,000, pay 50,000 to register." And then after you register for that, you're encouraged to invite more people to register, buy goods and sell to them, and then you keep moving up the ladder, and in a year you get a house, in 2 years you get a car, in 3 years you get a first class holiday to the Bahamas and things like that. I don't believe in pyramid schemes. If you've got 30,000, if you've got 50,000 to involve yourself in a pyramid scheme, please don't. Use that money and try to set up a small business. You can have a business from the boot of your car. You can have a business from your house. Use that money to learn a skill that can make you gainfully employed. I mean, I've got a lot of education. I've got a lot of work experience. I mean, I run my own businesses as well. But guess what? I still have some handy skills. And I still make money from that. I've got a fabric design company. It's called Countess Zibby Ankara. Probably a lot of you might have heard of it. I make accessories and jewelry and shoes and basically interiors, anything you can think of. I make them using African fabric. So it's always a good idea to have a backup skill, something you can always fall back on. So use that money, try to learn something. Don't give your hard-earned money to someone. Don't buy those products that no one is going to buy. I mean, if you're going to spend all that time trying to market some random product for someone, why don't you market your own products? So please think about that carefully before you get involved in anything like that. We'll take a short break now, and I'll leave you with some nice Afrobeat music. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
But me own car Caro na mi own Caro. Maria, I love you, baby. You don't know. Come on. Caro, make you answer me. Caro, one give me go. Caro, keep answer me. Caro, hello baby, sissy. Caro, Jordan Milo. Caro, if they me long. Caro, because I'm open. Caro, when you're my own, what he can't show. Caro, baby girl, I just wanna love you, but the way where you did do, no can make me trust you. I don't try plenty time to yarn you, but your attitude no more, man, gonna make me bust you. I don't the wish say when I need you. Say I feel close my eyes and then I'm with you. You're the mother of my child and I adore you. First things first, my girl, I will respect you. I'll be there for you every day, satisfy you in every way. And no matter what they say, me and you are here to stay. Together, forever, whatever the weather, I never let you go. Caro, make you answer me. Caro, one give me go. Caro, keep answer me. Caro, hello baby, sissy. Caro, Jordan Milo. Caro, if they rate me long. Caro, because I'm open. Caro, when you're my own, what he can't show. Caro, baby, you're my cutie. To make you happy, that's my duty. No one comes close to your beauty. I like the way you shake your African booty.
And you're welcome back. It's me, Zibby, once again. And I was going to add this. If you ever, come into contact with any recruitment consultancy or a job agency, and they say you need to pay a certain amount to register, even if it's 1,000, even if it's 20,000, even if it's 40,000, please do not do it. It's a scam. I got a friend in Abuja. After she did her NYC, she was looking for a job, and I don't know how she found that rogue company, and she had to pay them 40,000 naira to get her a job. And when she called me on the phone and she was like, she paid, I'm like, are you kidding? Who pays money to get a job? Flashback to our episode with Patrick Sufo, where we talked about how rogue agents were coming into Nigeria and, telling people they would take them to, Europe to play football. And he said it as well. You do not pay money to get a job. So whether it's football or whatnot, you don't pay money to get a job. So back to this, my friend paid that money, and she got a job in a company where she was going to be paid 40,000 naira. First 3 months she didn't get paid. She was working for free basically. And when she started asking of her money, they're like, oh, just wait, we're working on it. And then I think once the boss gave her 2,000 naira for transport. And at that point, she couldn't leave because she was worried if she left, she would lose the 120 grand she was supposed to be paid for 3 months. So she still stayed on, hoping she would get paid. And after 5 months, she didn't get paid a dime. So she realized at that point she was never going to get paid. So she left. I've spoken to a lot of people, and this is very popular in Abuja. So please don't get caught out in this scam. So basically, my friend paid 40,000 naira to an agent who got her a job that actually made her work for free for 5 months. She had to pay transport to go to work and back and take care of herself. Basically, she was working for free. And I mean, come on, if you're going to work for free, you might as well start volunteering, at a charity or something. So please don't get caught out with those kind of things. Yes. Now, this is going to be hard for me to talk about. Keeping a straight face. I spoke about, earlier, I said some pastors, it was hard to tell if they had the call or if it was just unemployment. But basically, with this situation in Kenya, this might definitely be a case of unemployment. All right, so a pastor in Kenya of a church called Helicopter Christ Ministry. I'm sorry, guys, but what? Helicopter Christ Ministry. I mean, it's a ridiculous name anyways. But hey ho, so Pastor Wahome of the Helicopter Christ Ministry actually charges a fee from his congregation to check if their names are in the book of life. So the fee... I'm so sorry, but I can't help but laugh because it's so funny. So, the fee is not to guarantee them a spot in the book of life. It's actually just to check if their names are in the book of life. So, obviously, if their names are not there, he'll be like, okay, your name's not there. And they'll just have to, work harder. And if their names are there, you're like, oh, my name's already there now. They don't go come up. So, okay, this is Kenya, so they probably wouldn't speak bad English. Yeah, so my name won't get taken off maybe in Swahili or something. And, yay, I can live my life now. It's ridiculous. Like, I I'm sorry, but this is so funny. I know, people are being taken advantage of, but I don't understand how people can be so ignorant. Really, the Book of Life. Who is this pastor? I mean, the name of his church is Helicopter Christ Ministry, and his church is like a shack. Probably, is it Kabira they call the slums? I don't know, but it looked mangy, like it was just not right. So I'm thinking, okay, so you're gonna pay a human to check in heaven if your name's in the Book of Life. Well, good luck with that. And then it was just about some weeks ago, I think late December, in South Africa, there were pictures of a pastor who would actually tell his congregation to eat grass. Now these people would actually go out in the fields and eat grass. And when I mean eat grass, like they would, pluck the grass from the floor and eat it. Or some would lie down on the floor and eat it. Some would be on all fours like a four-footed animal eating grass. And some of them are throwing up while they're eating. But, once they puke up the grass, they eat more. I mean, it sounds funny and it sounds ridiculous. I think in this case, it might be a bit more than ignorance. It might be some form of mind control or psychological, hypnotism or something, because it's ridiculous. Like, how are you going to eat grass? How are you going to tell someone to eat grass and then they go out in the sun like animals and start eating grass? It was really disturbing to see. Yeah, we've heard of people who mind control their congregation. I'm trying to remember the name of that famous incident in Jamestown, where that pastor basically mixed cyanide and gave his congregation to drink. Everyone was drinking it. They were screaming and dying, and they were drinking it. It was horrible. A U.S. senator actually died in that incident as well. So with cases of the grass eating, it might actually be more than ignorance. It might actually be hypnotism. But with the Book of Life, I think that is ignorance. So please, guys, let's all be careful. We cannot part with our hard-earned money to, anyone. Trying to check if your name is in the Book of Life, that's like cheating during an exam, and God is not about cheating, okay? So if you want to get your name on that Book of Life, I would suggest you actually read your Bible, try to live a good life, love and respect your fellow man, and you'll definitely be in that book. There is no shortcuts, I follow a very popular Kenyan blogger on Twitter, so I read a lot of these stories, and it seems to me like Kenya is rising on the whole scheme of fake pastors. That's what it seems like. I remember someone commenting, and apparently he had been somewhere and he saw a policeman on duty with his uniform preaching at a crusade. Oh my goodness, like, that was just funny and I couldn't stop laughing. And I'm like, is that possible? But a few weeks ago, I went to the market to get food stuff, and then I saw an army man in the market buying food stuff with his army uniform and a gun. And army people don't take pistols. It was a big gun. I mean, yeah, the army barracks are not too far, but come on. A market is a place where people are always shoving and pushing and jostling. Like, what if the gun goes off? How do you walk into a marketplace with a gun? I was scared, and man, I just had to stay a safe distance away until he left, So I guess it's almost as ridiculous as the policeman in Kenya preaching at a crusade with his uniform on. So we just need to do the right thing, do the right thing. It's nice to preach the word of God, but it'll be nicer if, you do it unofficially, like when you're off duty. Yes. There's been an increase in dodgy behavior. These days, people get into cabs, and then, people start talking about, this man has $100,000 in the boot. You have to tell us where he got the money. And then people will be like, oh, God, blah, blah, blah. It's a popular scam. It's been around for very, very long. I remember I was in final year in secondary school, SS3. I was standing at Rumokoro. I was going to take a cab. Or probably SS2 was that. I was going to take a cab to my family friends. They lived in FGC because their mom was a guidance counselor. So I was going to their house. And I could have walked, but I just wanted to take a cab. So I was standing there, and this guy comes up to me and says, "Sister, can you help me? I'm looking for something estate around here." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I don't know it." And he goes, "Oh, please, you have to help me find it." And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Because, I'm not from Nigeria." And he spoke in a strange accent. Man, I know this is unprofessional, but I hope that guy is rotting behind bars right now. He's like, "I'm from," I can't remember, he called an African country, a French African country, but he didn't sound French, Like, if you're speaking to someone from a French African country with a French accent, you can hear the French, but he didn't sound French, but he called a French country. And he's like, "I don't know my way, blah, blah, blah." And as I was listening to him, I was starting to feel sorry for him, like, oh, what if he's actually lost, And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I don't know the place." He's like, "Oh, I have my goods somewhere. Can you take me to it's at Eliozu? I can't find my way back there." And now, I knew there was a place called Eliozu, but I had never really, I knew the area, but I had never gone there, I'm like, "Oh, I can't help you." But, the more he was talking, I was starting to feel really sorry for him. And I'm like, and he goes, "Maybe you help me to speak to the people. I don't understand your language." And I'm like, "No, in Nigeria, we speak English. You're speaking English, I can understand you, so anybody can understand you." And he's like, "Sister, please help me." And at that point, I'm like, "Oh, gosh, what do I do? What do I do?" And then another hoodlum comes to me. And he sort of tells me, them don't give him fake address. They've duped him. He was saying it in bad English. Like, he sounded like a real devil. They've duped him. He go be all these ASHAWO girls. They don't dupe him. Try making enter bad people their hands before they kidnap him. Maybe Otokoto, all that kind of stuff. So at that point, I was worried. I'm like, oh gosh. And I was brought up in a very, loving home. So anywhere I am, I would always try to help anyone. And I was starting to feel sorry. I'm like, oh gosh, maybe I should just see if I can get him a cab. But there was something about the second guy. His eyes. He looked dodgy. I looked at his eyes, and there was something that made me uncomfortable looking at him. And immediately I crossed the road to the other side. I felt sorry for the first guy, but the second guy, there was something about him that made me uneasy. And I crossed the road over to the other side. And then, 2 seconds later, both of them are beside me again. And the guy is telling me, "Auntie, please help me. Sister, please help me. Please help me. I don't know. Help me. And I looked at the other guy. The other guy is like, make we help him. Make we help him more. Make we help him. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, There was still something about that dodgy guy. And then a girl came down from a cab. She was carrying bags. And then she probably heard what they said, and the girl came to me. She's like, come, help me carry my bag, please. And like I said, I'm always willing to help, so I picked up one of her bags, and I was surprised because we just took 3 steps. If she needed help, 3 steps is not anything. And she stopped. She's like, "Please don't listen to those people. They are 419 people." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "They're 419 people. This is what they do to people. Don't listen to them. Just go. The more you listen to them, the more you get, captured. Just don't listen to them. Don't talk to them. Cross over and go immediately. Go." And when she said that, I turned around and both of them had vanished. They probably heard what she was telling me, and they probably knew because she was hysterical. She probably might have, raised an alarm. And, well, you know what happens when you raise an alarm on the street of, robbers or 419ers or bomo in Lagos, you know what happens. So I think they probably got worried about that. And I was like, oh my God. And I never heard that in my life, And immediately I'm like, you know what? I'm just walking. It's probably 5 minutes from here. Why do I want to get in a cab? So I just walked to my family friend's house, and I'm like, Susan, this is what happened. And she starts screaming. She's like, oh my God, Ungo, thank God. And, she was telling me about how it happened to her sister, and it's and she told me it's a normal scam that happens. They, get people to follow them to places. Sometimes they hypnotize people. But come on, he that is in me is greater than he that is in the world, and that's why their hypnosis could not work on me. And whoever that lady is, thank you very much. Because, I'm just thankful. Because, we never know what could have happened. But it was just God. And he, spoke to me through that young lady. She was so hysterical. And, wow. So basically, this thing is now back. because people are desperate for money. People have no jobs. They're turning to crime. They're turning to, different forms of crime, political thugs, criminal, robbery, kidnaps, and, even these kind of weird scams. So please, let's be very careful. Always say a prayer before you leave, and just be very watchful. If you're somewhere and you don't feel comfortable, please leave immediately. It doesn't matter what it is you're waiting for. Don't get into a car. You guys all know about the popular one chance thing. Don't get into a car that's already filled up. If you can, please take a cab. I know it's difficult and it's expensive, but at least get into a car where you're seeing that it's different people coming in. It's, only God can actually protect us 100%, but we just need to try to be vigilant. And if you notice any suspicious activity, please, maybe it might not be a good idea to raise alarm because, if it's false, someone could get lynched or something. But let's just all be very careful. Let's just all be really careful. Now, this is something that I'm really shocked about. A 30-year-old man, Daniel Ikidenor Ikoria, looking at his picture, he looked more like 50, but he says he's 30, has been pretending to be a lawyer. He has never seen the four walls of a university. He just said he liked being a lawyer, and 3 years ago, he bought a wig, bought a gown, and he was a lawyer. He actually represented people in court. I don't know how this happened, but he's been doing that for 3 years. So in 3 years, you can imagine the amount of lives he may have ruined. I know, in most countries, there's public defense, where people who can't afford lawyers are appointed lawyers by the government. I don't think that really works so well in Nigeria. So maybe people who have cases in court would actually meet a devil. I'm sorry I used that word. Probably meet an impersonator like Mr. Daniel, and pay him, what they can afford. And then he would represent them. Now you can imagine the amount of people this illiterate scammer would have duped. You can imagine the amount of properties lost, the amount of fines people might have been paid, probably people languishing in jail because they might have, been found innocent if they got a competent lawyer. So apparently it was at a different court. A policeman noticed there was something dodgy about this lawyer, starts questioning him, and the whole truth comes out. Mr. Daniel's not a lawyer, and he was remanded in custody. I think he was set at the 500,000 naira bill, which he hasn't been able to meet, thank goodness, because he deserves to be in jail for a very long time. And his defense to the judge was he had no idea that impersonating a lawyer was a criminal offense, and if the judges let him go, he would change. So we need to be very careful about the people we patronize. What scared me most about that article was the comments, because people were speaking about, in fact, someone spoke about his friend's brother who dropped out of university, a very good university in Nigeria, because he couldn't meet up. He actually failed. And you all know how it is with MBBS and everything. And he failed out. He never went back to any university, but he works in a hospital now as a doctor. Yes. And another lady spoke of someone that, she knew, and that person was definitely not a nurse. And when she saw a hospital, she called the woman's name. The woman saw her, blanked her, acted like she didn't know who she was, just because obviously she knew she wasn't a nurse. So please, let's be very careful. It's okay to ask questions. When you're chatting with your nurse or your doctor, whoever, your lawyer, make it informal if you wish. Ask questions. What university did you go to? What year did you graduate? How long have you been practicing? It's okay to ask, because at the end of the day, it's your health. You're in charge of your health. And if you don't feel comfortable with any medical personnel, you can move. Same thing goes with a lawyer. It's just amazing. I don't know how he slipped through the system. I really have no idea. I mean, there's a lady I know, she's braided my hair twice. She says she's a nurse. I'm amazed at how she could be a nurse, because I'm sorry to use this word, but she's not the smartest cookie. She's very dull, she's very lazy, and I just wonder, what kind of nurse are you? And so one day, first day she did my hair, and she said she was a nurse. I asked her what school did she go to, what university, or what did you go to, School of Health or nursing college? And she said she trained in a hospital and she has a certificate. I'm like, all right, so that makes you a nurse. And she said yes. And she goes on to tell me how, she treats people, she prescribes drugs, and she gives drips and injections. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I asked her what hospital she was currently working at, and she told me. So I've got the name of that hospital. So I'd like to go to that hospital. I'm definitely going there next couple of weeks, just to speak to them. Come in as a patient, ask questions, and look around, because I need to know the kind of hospital that would employ that lady. In fact, the second time she did my hair, she was telling me how she was awake all night because the lady in her church was in labor. I'm like, oh, right, so you went with her to the hospital? And she said no, they were in church and they were praying for her. And I'm like, if a lady is in labor, it's nice to get her to a hospital, and you can do your prayers for her in a hospital or in church. God is everywhere and he'll listen, but she needs to be in a hospital. And she goes, yeah, they were praying and stuff, and after a while, I got so worried, and I kept calling her, please call and see how the woman is doing. Please call and see how she's doing. Call and see how she's doing, because, I just couldn't concentrate on anything. And she was calling for a while, no one was picking up, and after a couple of hours, she actually got through to someone, and they said they had taken her to a hospital. So I'm so glad she got to a hospital. I hope she was taken care of there. Let's just try to do the right thing. Let's take a break now, and we'll be right back to talk about Americanah. Don't go away.
And no matter what they say, me and you are here to stay together forever, whatever the weather. I never, ever, ever let you go. Caro, make you answer me. Caro, one give me go. Caro, keep answering me. Caro, hello baby, sissy. Caro, Jordan Milo. Caro, if they tell me long. Caro, because I'm no cool. Caro, when you're my own, what he can't show. Caro, I don't want nobody if no be my Caro. I don't need nobody, I only want Caro. Because Caro more. Now you are, I go follow. Like you answer me, Caro. One give me go. Caro, keep answering me. Caro, hello baby, sissy. Caro, Jordan Milo. Caro, if they tell me long. Caro, because I'm no cool. Caro, when you're my own, what he can't show. Caro, make you answer me. Caro, one give me go. Caro, keep answering me. Caro, hello baby, sissy. Caro, Jordan Milo. Caro, if they tell me long. Caro, because I'm no cool. Caro, when you're my own, what he can't show. Caro, don't know. Caro, 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 I love you, baby. Caro, come on. Caro.
Hi, you're welcome back. And now we're going to do our review for Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Okay, so this book talks about the struggles people face, especially where you feel like a fish out of water, you feel different. It's basically a sort of love story about two people who met as teenagers, Obinze and Ifemelu. Ifemelu is just one of those characters that sort of want to stand out. They don't want to be the status quo, basically. They want to say, why do I have to do that? I would rather do it this way. And Obinze, on the other hand, seems to be a very nice young man who, very high morals, just wants to be a regular person. And, I really liked him. I liked his character to a certain extent. Then the struggles about living in a different country, like having natural hair and looking for where to do your hair, and then in Nigeria people saying, why don't you want to relax your hair? I totally understand Ifemelu's predicament, because I haven't relaxed my hair since 2004. I've got natural hair and I don't think I'll ever relax it. And when I go to salons here, people are always like, why don't you want to relax your hair? I don't understand why people think my hair needs to be relaxed, and so sometimes it gets quite annoying. And Obinze, living in England, finds life is not, exactly as easy as he would have hoped, especially since he's illegal. Now, one aspect I wasn't too sure of, I had no idea people would actually work with people's NIs. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I had no idea. And when I spoke to my friend about it, she's like, come on, Ngozi, people do that all the time. I actually had no idea. So when I read about it, I was a bit skeptical. I'm like, does this really happen? You know? But I like Ifemelu's character. She's, she'd say it the way she sees it. She's just very blunt and she's tough. And she goes through quite a lot as well. Being a black woman in America, I sort of understand her. And then coming from a family, also she was an international student at some point who couldn't even afford to pay her fees. And that happens to a lot of international students. Because trust me, living and schooling abroad is not easy, especially when you have restrictions as a student. So Ifemelu goes through that struggle. And I have some criticisms. I'm trying not to give too much of the book away because I know some people would want to read it and I don't want to give too much, but trust me, it's an amazing book. Ifemelu and Obinze meet as teenagers, but the connection Miss Adichie describes is a bit, I think, unreal for teenagers growing up in Nigeria. She makes it look like it's, love at first sight. They're crazy about each other. I think when you're 13, 14, 15, you don't date people because, you love them or you guys fall in love instantly. When you're, 13, 14, maybe 15, you date people because they're popular, because they wear a nice shirt to the party, or because, well, they asked. I don't think, it's... Maybe there might be some rare cases, but I just think, the connection was too deep for teenagers of that age. And considering they hadn't spoken for maybe 10, 11 years, I think the way the connection comes back, it's a bit surreal. There's also infidelity involved because Obinze is married. I liked Ifemelu up till that point. I really liked Obinze up to that point. Miss Adichie does try to sort of... Everyone, knows that adultery, especially, also with a woman, adultery basically, is something that, especially where children are involved or a child's involved, it's something very painful. Miss Adichie actually does a good job of trying to create an impression that it's actually right because they love each other. That I don't agree with. So that is one spot I'm not very happy about. But there's so much in this book you can, relate with. There's just so much. And then it also deals with being a fanatic Christian like Ifemelu's mother, who would go from church to church and adapt to their doctrines and, expects everyone to do the same. I really like the book. It's typical. And then there's something else I found a bit unreal. It was the aspect of Obinze's mother inviting her, Ifemelu, his girlfriend in secondary school, to lunch at their house. Now, this is the early 90s. Nigerians are still very conservative. I found it a bit strange that a Nigerian mother would want her son's 14-year-old girlfriend to come to the house and have lunch. Maybe it happens, but it's just something that's a bit rare. It's just something that I think is a bit rare. But all in all, I don't want to talk too much about the book, but it's an amazing book. When I started, I couldn't put it down. I was up all night reading the book. I just could not stop. And because of my hectic schedule, it's been very hard for me to actually read quite recently. But after I read this book, it inspired my love for reading again. And I've been reading every day since I read this book. So, Miss Adichie, you did an amazing job. You lit that fire of reading in me again. And I'm so grateful. It's a gorgeous book. And I hope if there, is any chance it's going to be made into a movie, we can have an all-Nigerian cast this time. It would really, really be nice. But it's a great book, and I love it, and I think you did a very good job. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so that is it for Americanah. It's Valentine's, the season of love in a few days. I think is it Thursday or Friday? But we went out and we spoke to different people who just wanted to share their love to their friends, family, and loved ones. I think every day should be Valentine's Day, basically, because, it's a chance for you to thank God you're alive and love the people around you, your family, your friends, your neighbors. Just give a smile and love everyone. I think that's, Mary J. Blige said, love is all we need. And I think that is so right. Everyone needs love, so... Oh, right, she actually said that everybody needs love. Sorry about that. The lyrics just came back to me. So, let's listen to some of these lovely messages from our friends.
Hey, what's cracking, Zibby? It's your boy, Chimene, a.k.a. Chinny Weasel. I just want to say happy Valentine to my better half, my friend, my companion, my love, my angel, my all, and most importantly, I love you to the moon and back, and we all happy Valentine, Iberi, Lisa, Woke, peace out.
Hey, my name's Jags. I'm from the UK in Coventry. Just want to wish my boo Marius a happy Valentine's Day, and also to my family as well. Love you guys loads. Bye.
Hi everybody, my name is Adaku. This shout out goes out to the love of my life, Hotel Pozo. Baby, words cannot begin to describe what you mean to me or how you make me feel. But here's wishing you a wonderful and sexy Valentine's Day filled with so much love, fun, and excitement. Oh, and of course me. Darling, I love you. I bless the day I met you. You're my everything. God bless you. Cheers, boo. Mwah.
Oh my goodness, those messages were really, really nice. They were really sweet messages. I've got an email message from Christina, and she says, "Hi Mambo, this is just wishing you a happy Valentine's Day with lots of love from Christine." So that's an email message. I've got a special shout out to my friend Becky. Becky and her Jeff are going to have a baby. Yes, that is amazing. They're going to have a baby. And I'm thrilled, particularly because that baby is going to have so much love. His dad, Jeff, is partly Ghanaian and partly Nigerian. And his mom, Becky, is partly Welsh. So Becky's telling me, Jeff is going to teach him how to speak Hausa, Yoruba, and Twi. And I'm like, oh, great, that's good. And I'll teach him how to speak Pidgin as well. And then another friend has promised to teach him how to speak Punjabi. So he's going to be a very busy baby learning all those languages. So I just want to say congratulations to Jeff and Becky. And we can't wait for baby to come out. And let's talk about the shout outs. I don't know if you recall, but we've had some of these people on the show. Yes. I actually did a special shout out to Chimene and Iberi when they got engaged. They got engaged a couple of weeks ago, and the shout out was done on the 5th episode of the Zibby Show. So it was amazing when he did it, and he sent me pictures. I thought it was really sweet. So if they're part of the Zibby Show, they're part of the love, we have in this family. So, Iberi, I hope you love that message. And then, of course, there's Adaku and Otse. I did a special shout out to Adaku and Otse when they got engaged. So they're also part of the Zibby family. Now Adaku and Otse are extra special to me because, yes, Adaku Kilonu, she's my friend. And we all went to secondary school together. Like Otse, her boo. Yeah. Basically JS1 to SS3, FGC Port Harcourt. And we finished in the same set. So basically they're the first official 2002 couple. Two people in the same set. So it's really exciting. And I did hear the part where she says, I blessed the day I found you, or the day I met you. I'm trying to think, Adak, when was the first day you met Otse? You were probably like, oh, these boys. So it's so cute, so it's basically like their family. So it's a lovely, lovely, lovely experience. And I can just feel the love, within them. And wow. Thanks everyone for ignoring me. I'm human too. I need some Valentine's Day shout out. So thank you very much, Obi, for sending that lovely shout out to me and your family. Thank you very much. Okay. So it's been a great show. We've had a great time, and I almost sort of wish it didn't have to end. But we've got so much more next week. I did tell you about the Grammy winner, the Emmy winner, the Peabody winner, the Clio winner, the man who's done a song with Kanye West and Jay-Z. I mean, wow. I totally love him. I remember the first time I heard his work. I remember it was on Kanye West's album, The College Dropout. It was a particular song. And whenever we'd get to his part, that was the first time I heard of him. Me and my friend would pause. Like when we'd listen, we'd look at each other and would scream, and then we'd, take it back to the beginning. Would hear his rap again, would scream, and we would do it like 50 times a day because we couldn't just imagine how amazing his rap was. And that was, like the first time, all over the world people knew him, and his career's been going greatly. So, just in case you're wondering what song it is, it's Never Let Me Down by Kanye West, Jay-Z, and of course the man himself, Mr. J. Ivy. He's an amazing man, and there's so much he's worked with, I can't wait for next week. I mean, I listened to him years ago when I was a teenager, and I was, dreaming like, wow, and then all of a sudden I get a chance to sit down and speak to him. It's a wonderful feeling, and nothing beats that. I mean, I'm overwhelmed. Okay, you know what? We'll just save it for next week, yeah? It's an amazing interview. He talks about his music. He talks about his life. He talks about working with Jay-Z and Kanye. He talks about winning Grammys. He talks about Africa. He talks about so much. He's just inspirational. Trust me, you do not want to miss this episode. Thank you, Mr. J. Ivy. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I mean, the Zibby Show started because I wanted to inspire people, and I'm so glad that I'm getting a chance to do that. Last Sunday, I looked at the amount of views we had, and we had about 483. And guess what? I checked today, and we've got 603. It's amazing. I'm talking about unique plays, and this is just Spreaker. I'm not even talking about the views and downloads on SoundCloud, for shared on YouTube. I'm just talking about Spreaker. So it's amazing to know that there are people like all over the world listening to this, and I'm so glad that we're getting a chance to inspire people. So please, let's get this bandwagon. Let's move. Let's try to get that inspiration. Let's change the world one person at a time, starting from ourselves. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's our world. It's our world. Thank you all so much for being with me on today's show. I hope you tune in next week when we speak with Mr. J. Ivy, Grammy winner from the United States, Emmy winner, and motivational speaker, poet, actor. He's just so much. And, it's really an honor that he agreed to be on the Zibby Show. We're so grateful for that. I'll leave you with a word from Mr. Ivy. This is his slogan. Dreams don't come true. They are true. Have a lovely week. Take care of yourselves and each other. And don't forget to spread the love. Aloha.
Come on.